Welcome to the SolaX instructional installation video series. We will guide you through the installation and commissioning of X3-ESS G4 plus adapter box G2 plus EV charger solution. We will provide detailed step-by-step introductions to ensure the successful installation and commissioning. X3-ESS G4 plus adapter box plus EV charger system consists of X3-ESS G4, adapter box and EV charger. And X3-ESS G4 is composed of X3 Hybrid G4D version X3 Matebox Advanced D version, T30 BMS and T30 battery. Installation personnel must wear safety gear in order to avoid electrical shock and personal injury. Please prepare the listed tools in advance. Now, let's get started with the installation of X3-ESS G4. Before installation, please make sure the PV system and AC power supply are turned off. Put the battery base on the ground and it shall be located 193 plus or minus 2 mm away from the wall. Place the first battery module on the top of the base. Install the second battery module and secure both left and right sides with screws. Place the wall bracket and secure the wall bracket to the battery and to the wall. Place BMS on the top of the battery module and secure both left and right sides. Fix the inverter bracket and matebox bracket on the connecting bracket and fix them with screws. Put the completed bracket on the wall, determine the height and then fix it. It is recommended that the height between the bracket's bottom and the top of BMS is at least 28 centimeters. Mount the matebox on brackets and tighten the screw. Loosen the waterproof plug and thread grid cable and EPS cable into the corresponding ports. Find the location of AC interface and insert the terminals into the corresponding ports. Install the AC protective cover and tighten the screws and the waterproof plug. Finally, hang up the inverter and use the M5 inner hexagonal wrench to tighten the screw. And X3-ESS G4 installation is finished. Dismantle the upper cover of the adapter box. Use screws to fix it on the wall. Remove the screw from the EV charger with cross screwdriver and then remove the back bracket away. Fix the back bracket and the cable hook on the wall. Hang the EV charger on the wall for trail to see if the fixed position is suitable. After that, take it down. Before connecting the cables, the right cover of the battery needs to be unscrewed. For BMS and battery 1, connect B positive of BMS to B positive of battery 1. Connect COM of BMS to COM 1 of battery 1. For battery 1 and battery 2, connect B negative of battery 1 to B positive of battery 2. Connect COM 2 of battery 1 to COM 1 of battery 2. For battery 2 and BMS, connect B negative of battery 2 to B negative of BMS. Connect the ground cable to the ground port of BMS. Connect the first ground cable and the second ground cable to battery 1. Connect the second ground cable to battery 2. For BMS and inverter, open the upper cover and the isolation plate of matebox before wiring. Insert one end of bat positive cable and bat negative cable into the ports of BMS. Unscrew the battery waterproof plug of matebox, pass the other end through waterproof plug, and then the matebox. Unscrew the screws of battery breaker of the matebox. Then connect bat cables to the battery breaker. Insert the bat cables of the matebox into the bat ports of the inverter. Connect the BMS cable to the BMS port of BMS and the inverter. Finally, close the cover and tighten the screws. Install the antenna on the matebox. Connect the antenna cable to the Wi-Fi dongle. Insert Wi-Fi dongle into the inverter. Use a ground cable to connect the inverter and the matebox. In the same way, connect the cover and the matebox. Find the right PV ports on the inverter, and insert PV cables into the corresponding ports. Insert the 4-core EPS cable of the inverter into the EPS waterproof of the matebox. Force the cable into the port according to the EPS cable symbol on the cables and the matebox. Pass the 5-core grid cable of the inverter through the grid, INV, waterproof plug. Insert the cable into the port according to the grid cable symbol on the cables and the grid, INV, port, and tighten the screws. Pass the 5-core public grid cable through the grid waterproof plug. Insert the cables into the ports and tighten the screws. The loads port can be connected to the whole home loads. There are 2 ways of short-circuited N-line for Australia and New Zealand regulations. One is using a N-terminal adjacent bridge to connect the N ports, and the other is using N-wire connector. Insert the meter communication cable on the mate box into the meter port of the inverter. Use the screwdriver to install the baffle back. Prepare 2 network cables. Insert one network cable to COM port of the inverter and the RJ45 coupler. Insert the other into the RJ45 coupler. Unscrew the waterproof plug, pass the other end through it, and insert it into RS485_INV port. The adapter box G2 can connect 2 types of heat pumps. For due port connection, it needs 5-core cable, and AO port 2-core cable. Let's take 2-core for example. Insert the 2-core cable into the waterproof plug and the terminal block and tighten them. Then connect the terminal block to the corresponding port. Connect the other end to the heat pump. Close the cover and tighten the screws. Before wiring, unscrew the rear cover and take it down. Unscrew the countersunk screw of the base plate and pull the base plate out. Insert the 5-core grid cable into the input waterproof plug and the corresponding ports of the terminal blocks. Insert the 5-core grid cable into the input waterproof plug, and the communication cable into the COM waterproof plug. Insert 5-core grid cable into the corresponding ports of the terminal blocks, and the communication cable into the INV/CT port. Pull the base plate back, and screw the countersunk screw and the rear cover. Hang onto the EV charger and connect the charging connector to the EV charger. Connect the other end of the communication cable to the RJ45 coupler. Turn on the AC breaker. Turn on the breakers in the mate box. Open the BMS cover and turn on the breaker. Press and hold the power button for over 1 second. Turn on the DC switch of the inverter. Close the mate box cover and lock it. X3 Hybrid G4 can support local LCD screen setting and app remote settings. If you want to know more about how to set on the app remotely, please skip to the next section, App Setting. Switch on the system. For work modes, you can choose from the following modes: self-use, feed-in priority backup mode manual and peak shaving. For settings, a password is required. Please consult with SolaX authorized installers for the password. After entering, you can set the data and time of the inverter. And choose the language. For advanced settings, mainly safety code, export control, meter/CT will be involved. You can choose the safety code according to the local requirements. Also, X3 Hybrid G4 can do zero export control. Set it to meter. Select EVC and adapter box G2 in Function Controlled setting. Set Bro rate to 9600. Enter battery charger EVCN. If you don't want to use batteries to charge the cars, just set Disable. Use your smartphone to scan the QR code to download the SolaX Cloud app. Firstly, input the username and password to log in the app. If you do not have an account yet, click Create a new account in the bottom. Secondly, touch the plus icon in the middle of the page. Fill in the site information to create a site, such as site name, size, location, etc., and scan the QR code of the pocket Wi-Fi to add the inverter. You can also use this way to add the adapter box G2 and the EV charger. Next, configure Wi-Fi connection for the Wi-Fi module. For more information about the operation of Wi-Fi configuration, please refer to the Wi-Fi dongle video. For inverter setting, touch the device icon and then touch the settings button to enter the settings page. Once you access the System On or OFF interface, you can remotely configure the system to turn on or OFF as desired. After entering into the Work Mode interface, you can set self-use, feed in Priority Backup Mode Manual and Peak Shaving. The default password should be set by SolaX authorized installers. After entering into the User Settings interface, you can set date time firstly. The inverter provides multiple languages for users to choose. Here you can set safety code according to different grid-tied standards. Please refer to the table for some main codes. Set the system maximum allowed feeding power to the grid. Especially, when there is a zero injection requirement, just set the value to be 0. By default, the inverter is set to CT, set it to meter, for there is a meter inside the mate box. For EV charger setting, touch the EV charger icon and then touch the settings button to enter the settings page. In green mode, the EV charger will maximize the use of surplus power generated from the inverter. In eco mode, it helps users to charge at a minimum power rate. In fast mode, the EV charger will charge the EV at the fastest rate. You can select timer boost mode and set the start and end time for the charger. During this period, it will charge at the fastest mode. Also, you can select smart boost with an end time and the total energy, for example, 100 kilowatt hours. The system will use the PV energy in priority and ensure 100 kilowatt hours has been charged by the end time. Click Main Breaker Limit to set the response value. Click Advanced Settings to set the overvoltage limit and undervoltage limit. If the grid voltage exceed the limit, the charger will stop work. Note that the range of overvoltage limit is 260-300. The undervoltage limit ranges from 80 to 160. Click Grid Data Source. If EVC communicates with CT, set Grid Data Source to CT. If EVC communicates with Inverter, set Grid Data Source to Inverter. Click RFID function to enable or disable the feature. Click Card Activation Mode to enable or disable the feature. Thank you for watching.